Welcome to the Aul Financial Hour Podcast with Steve Aul. Steve, another weekend here. I know you've been busy in the office there, so it's probably good to take your load off for a second, or do you actually have your feet up?
I try to relax on the weekends. I only take appointments if for somebody that is still working and
Sure.
cannot get in there during the day because they travel. Those are usually when I look at the weekend appointments. Getting my honeydew things out of the way, I think that's
what
important.
I was wondering.
When you get into the quote spring cleaning, I'm still one of those advocates that be careful planting your plants prior to Mother's Day weekend.
Okay.
Because I don't know why here in St. Louis, it seems like every time I plant early, we get either hail to kill all the plants or it all floods and wipes out everything that we currently have. So I kind of try to follow that as far as planting. Lori gets back into town mid-May, so she always likes to make sure that she's got the flowers she wants out. So for me, it's mainly just kind of getting that winter stuff out of the way, get things moved, clean up the garage, and do those things that people don't like to do, especially people like me. So it goes from there. But no, things are going well. The office is running fantastic. Lots of reviews, lots of people coming in for the from the presentations that we've done. And I believe we have that opportunity to help a lot of them.
And Steve, you've probably heard that 10,000 baby boomers turn 65 every day. So that means a lot more people are getting ready to leave the workforce soon, and they're all wondering about income. For 16 quarters in a row, annuity sales have continued to grow and set records. What is it about an annuity that people find attractive, Steve?
There's basically two things when we look at annuities. There's a lot more that annuities do, but I look at it, give me the right tool for the right job. One, asset protection. The second one, guaranteed income. So there's different types of annuity out there. And I know some of you people just grew horns when I mentioned the word annuities. One of the first questions I ask people is, what did you hear when I said the word annuity? Because I have heard horror stories, and it comes like that. So let's look at the different types of annuities that are out there. There's the single premium immediate annuity. That you are basically taking your money and giving it to a life insurance company, and they are going to give you an income that's guaranteed for the rest of your life. And they're usually period certain, because the old story was Uncle Joe gave my money to an insurance company and he died 5 years later and they kept the money. So that's what a lot of people think when I say the word annuity.
Right.
That's a single premium immediate annuity. It's changed very much over the last 10 to 15 years. Second type, fixed annuity. A fixed annuity is where I'm going to give you a set percentage for a set period of time. It looks a lot like a CD, but the guarantees are not from the government or the bank. They're from the life insurance company. So that's one of the things you look at from there. Variable annuities. Variable annuities, your money is at risk in the market. It can go up, it can go down. So those are the things that I like to look at from there. The fixed indexed annuity. In the fixed indexed annuity, your principal is not at risk.
Right.
Your money's not invested in the market. What they do is they take that money, buy an option, and if the market goes up, you get to participate in it. If the market goes down, you don't participate into it. Now, for that floor of zero, you could have a ceiling.
Sure.
So that's where I look at it. I don't have a problem with annuities. I got a problem with a lot of annuity salespeople.
Oh, okay.
I hate to see it. When somebody comes in to sit down and talk to me, and their pensions and their Social Security are way more than their current expenditures. And then I do an analysis on an annuity that's got an income rider. These people are looking at me saying, Steve, we don't really need to turn this on. We don't really need the income. Now, they've paid for it for a very long time. So I don't like to see that. The other part of it is I don't want to experience negative returns in the market. I'm willing to accept a ceiling if my floor is zero. So those are the things, a fixed index annuity will allow you to do that. Both the fixed indexed and the variable can have income riders. So that's the thing that you got to look at. What were you sold? What do you have? A lot of people, I like to look at it, annuities aren't really crock pots. They don't have to sit there forever. They do have 10-year surrender charges attached to them where you're going if you get rid of them early. But we look at our clients' annuities on a regular basis. Why? Interest rates change. Participation rates can go up. Participation rates can go down. What could we do with this annuity? So if you were sold an annuity and you haven't talked to the agent on that since they sold it to you, give me a call now. Ask for that annuity x-ray so that we can actually look at the products you have and see if it might make sense to possibly move it if we can improve the situation in what you're looking at. And if you haven't turned on the income rider, would it make sense to not do that or to let it go? It all depends on your situation.
Now, Steve, the NFL draft here is gearing up right around the corner, and so is the media. Almost every sports outlet has got their own mock drafts, and we know how those, just like my NCAA bracket recently, just fell apart completely, all right? So there's a lot of noise that NFL teams have to tune out so they can make the right decision and not just follow the fan hype. The same can happen in the financial media too, Steve, and I know you just grit your teeth or sometimes just laugh when you see how cable news panels react to some of the things in the market. So what advice do you give to retirees who feel overwhelmed by all the financial noise?
Well, I look at it, do you have a plan? And what's that plan contain? I think a financial plan should have a tax strategy in it. Income generation. Have you thought about how you're going to replace your paycheck when you retire? Social Security optimization. If you're married, that's very, very important to look at. Then we go down to the legacy planning. Are we going to leave assets to our kids? Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah.
We weren't planning on it, but we might. Do you have a plan on how to do that? And then I think your investments should be based on need, not greed. Give me the best return that I can get with the least amount of risk possible. And then I think protection of the asset is very, very, very important, especially if you're getting close to retirement. Why? Because if you have a large downturn close to your retirement date, it can highly negatively affect your retirement. So give us a call now. Ask about that comprehensive retirement plan so that we can put that together so you don't have to listen to all the noise that's currently going on.
I got to say, Steve, your voice and hearing you explain that is way better than hearing some of the people I've seen on TV, all right? I just want to tell you, it's nice to just hear the calm. All the BS is turned down, and you just get in straight lines a comprehensive retirement plan, okay? So 636-230-8824. That's the number to dial, 636-230-8824. Or you could go to aulfinancialgroup.com, AUL, aulfinancialgroup.com. And, Steve, I'm sure people hate the sound of their own voice, so you're not going to endorse me the same way I just said that about your own voice. But I'm telling you, I'd much rather hear Steve Aul talk about it than someone with their hair on fire, okay?
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not here to do it to sell people to come to the radio station. I'm here to help people walk through that journey called retirement.
We need to laugh a little bit. There's been so much stress, okay, about talking about finances, or is this going to go bankrupt, or is that going to cost 60% more than it used to? But Conan O'Brien and the team had a funny skit from years back dealing with, well, some of the hype and some of the ways that people like to act like they're know-it-alls. Listen to this.
What if you had purchased Apple stock before the launch of the iPhone? What if you had bought Amazon before it was the only place people shopped? At Hindsight Financial, you don't have to wonder how rich you could have been, because we'll show you. Our advisors will walk you through every single opportunity you missed. Let us show you how many years earlier you could have retired. Oh, the life you would have had. Hindsight Financial. Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
I am not a big Conan O'Brien fan, but that was tremendous.
Right?
Coulda, woulda, shouldas. God, if we could just replay, if I could have bought something early, or if I would have sold when it was here, we look at all those things, but, that is fantastic. Thank you very much for bringing that to the show today.
Well, and how many people do you have that come and do that to you, or that have regret about it? Or do you have people that, you have to kind of talk off the ledge and say, hey, wait a second, you think you missed out on something, but there's actually this. I'm sure that with all the information at our fingertips, it happens quite a bit.
Well, I think that the biggest thing that when a lot of people come in, they have that question. When can I retire? That's usually the biggest question that you have, and they don't know the answer to it. That's why I'm here. We're going to gather your information. We're going to run it through the software, a couple different types, just to make sure that kind of a balance between the two. And then we're going to bring you back in and we're going to talk about it. But a lot of the coulda, woulda, shouldas. I love when we start talking about things that we could have done. And we look at it. One of the things that I believe that we don't put into a plan in a lot of cases when it's do it yourself. Inflation. What is the impact of inflation? And you sit there and look at people, and you sit there, and I don't care if you're spending $5,000 a month to meet all your expenses or $10,000 a month. And if 10,000 is the number, and I look at them and they're 65 and they're spending 10, and we look at it and at 85, you're going to be spending 20. And they go, there's no way I'm going to be spending $20,000 when I'm 85 years old. I looked at it and said, 20 years ago or 25 years ago, did you think you were going to be spending $10,000 a month?
That's a great point.
And almost everybody says no. Because we forget about what a car cost in the 70s compared to what a car costs now. You couldn't get a good used car today for what we bought new cars back for in the late 70s. So that's, I think, one of the biggest things that people look at. The other coulda, woulda, shoulda that probably comes up quite a bit is undervaluing the value of your Social Security benefits.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people just said, well, everybody said turn it on when I turned 62 or I was retired. And I wish I could have delayed. So those are the things. When is the best time to take Social Security? Now, I'll tell you, if you're already taking Social Security, there's not a lot I can do to change that unless you're in the first year of taking your Social Security. But that Social Security optimization report can really benefit people when they look at when they might want to take Social Security. The other one, retiring too soon.
Oh, yeah.
Retiring too soon. And they start to look at it. Life expectancy, mom, dad, they passed away early, so I want to go ahead. I don't want to work till the day I die and then go. And that is that life expectancy has gone up. We're retired for a lot longer years. It's a lot of difference building a plan for somebody that's got 25 years than somebody that's got 40 years in retirement. So I think those are the things that we have to look at when it comes to that. Things that we can do today. Overspending.
Oh, yeah.
Overspending is about the most detrimental things to a retirement plan. Credit card debt is the hardest thing. Because I'll get people that'll call me up and say, I'd really like to start investing my money. And I ask them a few questions, and then I get the one, how much credit card debt you got to? And they say X. And I said, you got to get rid of that first. And they go, well, what do you mean? I said, we don't have anything out here that's going to make 24% if that's the interest rate you're paying on your credit cards. I think getting those things done are very important. Living within your means.
Yeah.
I like to talk to the young people about what I call the 80-10-10 rule. 10 to 15% of your money should go to your own retirement, not for a vacation fund to be spent later in the year towards your retirement.
Right.
10% to where you get your faith. If that's not it, give it to charity. I believe that people that are willing to give away some of their assets usually get more. And if you learn to live on 75 to 80% of your income, you're never going to get caught in that I'm spending 125% of my income bracket.
Correct.
So those are the things. And the one thing that I probably hear from more people than anything else, if they ask, what could you do differently? It's, I wish I would have started earlier.
Oh, yes. My gosh. Yeah, there's
So
no one that
young people-
regrets starting too early, do they?
Yeah. Nobody's ever said, God, I started way too early and I got way too much money in my accounts. So those are the things we look at. And as people enter the retirement years, underestimating their medical expenses or just thinking that long-term care is not something that I need to look at. So those are the biggest things that we need to look at when we start to talk about a retirement plan.
Now, Steve, we had a good laugh about Hindsight Financial there from Conan, which is great. Maybe that's going to be my side business coming up. But also, too, we need to talk about things that, well, might have gone obsolete. A number of states actually have reintroduced the once lost art of cursing. Schools in 24 states now require students have to learn how to write in cursive, but the fact remains that most schools still don't teach it anymore. So things also have changed when it comes to retirement planning, and you've been in this biz a long time, Steve. Can you tell us how it's not your grandparents' retirement anymore?
Well, one of the greatest things that I heard on the kids of today, they say that the young kids today think they're going to take over the world. And then I've heard that our generation will just write in cursive on the back of a map what we're going to do to take them over, and they'll never be able to figure out what we're planning on doing. Because the lost art of, give a young person today a map, and they'll look at, wait a minute, I got to go to L16 to figure out where you're at? Yeah.
I used to be a traffic reporter, and I definitely had a small atlas that I would use for that before Google Maps became a thing. So 100% agree.
Yeah, so it goes from there. But, yeah, so we look at what are the pillars of financial planning? Things haven't changed that much. The way we can do it is a lot easier. Tax strategies. We have a lot more computer power to run the analysis around with Monte Carlos to find out, would it be beneficial for you to possibly do Roth conversions? Mm-hmm. Income generation. How are we going to do that? The tools today are much better than the ones that they were in the past. So it's not just the 4% rule. Don't worry about it. Because I hear a lot of people, they come in and my advisor said, don't worry about it. We'll give you 4% every year and we'll make you 7% and you'll never run out of money type of a mentality. So the 4% rule is not as accurate as it used to be. Social Security. Start at 62. Retire. 62, turn on my Social Security. Turn on my pension. Optimizing that can be very, very important for yourself. And then we get into the ideas around legacy planning. Have you thought about if you have a long-term care exposure? Those are the things that we want to look at. And then when we get to investments, give me the best return I can get with the least amount of risk possible. That's what our goals are to point with. And I think Market Guard gives us the availability to assist clients with their risk tolerance. If you're aggressive, I got the aggressive investments. If you're more conservative, I've got that also.
Yeah.
So I think having that proprietary investment method that uses non-emotional, methodical, and mathematical approaches to tell everyone the questions that they're asking. When to hold, when to sell, and when to re-enter the markets if I made the decision to get out.
Thanks for listening to the Aul Financial Hour Podcast.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Aul Insurance Group, LLC, AIG. Aul Financial Group, LLC is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Aul Insurance Group, LLC, AIG are not subject to investment advisor requirements. IPW and Aul Insurance Group, LLC, AIG are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Aul Financial Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Aul Financial Group, LLC.
This radio show is intended for information purposes only.